Hello and welcome to another case study. This one is all on weight loss, fat loss, weight gain, and what it takes to stop the yo-yo dieting or stop the weight coming back on. Because for some people, it's not that easy, no matter what diet, no matter how perfect the exercise routine is. So if you have been struggling with weight for most of your life, you were overweight as a kid or as a teenager, you would lose weight, you'd gain it, you lose it, gain it. This video case study is definitely for you. And I've got Ildiko from New York, who's a personal trainer, and she trains hard and she eats well, but none of that was really working for her in a way to lose the weight properly and to make sure it doesn't come back. So Ildiko, hi, and thanks for sharing your story.
Hi,
We met in 2019. We met on the Carnivore group, and you were doing a full-on carnivore diet, like perfectly. It was even raw carnivore, some food. You did that for a year, and you were gaining weight. Unlike other people who lose weight, you were gaining weight and you felt heavy, and that affected your training, yes?
Yes, and my legs were getting really tired. That was what made me scared, that my legs are really tired. It really affected me, my training, for sure.
So we did your hair test, and I suggested that a little bit of carbs is going to make a difference because it showed some stress. And hesitantly, you went along with it, and lo and behold, you did lose some weight.
Yes, that's true. And first of all, I really like the carnivore diet. I really like meat. And I was always scared of the carbs since I was a kid. Everybody was telling me, eat less carbs, eat less carbs. So I don't even like it, but and I definitely love the meat, but I felt it that it's not working. Carnivore diet, unfortunately, even though I really loved the diet, I wasn't getting better. It actually things was getting worse.
Why do you think the carnivore diet didn't work for you when it works for other people? Not that it works for everyone. Why do you think it didn't work for you?
Well, probably because I might have some thyroid issues, and my body just couldn't handle. I needed carbs. I think I needed carbs, and besides, I have a very active life. I walk a lot, and I was exercising 3 or 4 times a day. Week. And then at that time, I used to do dance practice too. Like 3 hours a week, one night, 3 hours a week. That was a lot of cardio, basically. So I definitely needed some carbs.
Yes. So then you kind of went and did your own thing for the next couple of years, and life happens, whole sort of things happen, stress happens, changes, and you gain the weight. And just before you and I started working this year in February, you were in a stuck place. You kind of felt stuck, felt overweight, nothing was working, and it was a painful place, right? So when you reached out to do another hair test and see what happens, how bad was it? What kind of internal state were you in?
Well, I felt really bad about myself. I felt like my whole body's bloated and my face was swollen. My hands were swollen. I had very bad runny nose the whole winter. Last winter, I was coughing a lot, and I just felt miserable. I really, really felt miserable. My head was always going. I hated myself, basically.
Yes. So I sensed that when I started working with it, that's where we needed to go. We needed to change, repattern, and heal the internal dialogue, what you were saying to yourself, the voice inside that was literally flogging you and pushing you, because you didn't have emotional eating. You did not eat anything outside what was recommended for you. When I looked at your diet, it was almost perfect, flawless. And plus you exercised. So something else was causing the weight gain, stress, inflammation, the internal dialogue. And most people ignore that. Most people do not look at that as something to work with. That's like the last thing people do. And so that's why I asked you to do this case study, because I wanted to emphasize that if your diet's not working and it's a perfect diet, if the exercise not helping and you're a personal trainer yourself and you know how to exercise, then what's left? What do you need to do to start losing the weight?
Yes, actually, the harder the stricter I got with my diet and the harder I was trying to exercise, the worse it got. And that when I was thinking that, something's not right, this doesn't has much to do with the way I eat or how much I eat and how much I exercise, because the harder I was trying to push myself, the worse it got.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I said, I need help. I have no idea what's going on.
Yes. And on your hair test, it did show that you had a lot of stress, which was also causing a little bit of water retention, which made you sensitive to things. But it's also hormonal, And the thing about us women is when we're in the 40s, things are different to when we're in the 30s, right? And this doesn't show up on blood tests, but it does show up on the hair test, which is why you keep doing hair tests. I think you've done 4 or 5 of them in the last couple of years. And each one is a little bit different, right? So,
yeah.
So with your, so when we did the emotional clearing work, repatterning that voice and the traumas associated with being overweight as a kid and growing up with that self-consciousness, how did you find that?
Well, at the beginning was really hard to do it. Actually, it felt like I don't know what I'm doing here, but slowly I was feeling better. Actually, every time we did it, I was feeling a little different. And then today, I look at myself a lot different than I used to do it. I don't hate myself. I don't hate when I look at the mirror and what I see. And it made a really big difference.
Yes, it made a huge difference in terms of feeling safe, for your body feeling safe to lose the weight and safe to do this again, because yo-yo dieting, gaining and losing is traumatic. For people that have lost a lot of weight, and if they gain it, and then when they sit down and think, I've got to lose all this weight again, there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of unforgiveness. So that needs to be cleared from our nervous system. I find a lot of carnivore people these days and other circles are talking about this nervous system reset, right? Nervous system reset, which is actually what I've done with you. Call it reset, call it emotional repatterning, call it emotional intelligence, psycho-emotional. But I find that area to be sometimes the most important area for chronic conditions, especially when diet and supplements and exercise is good, right? What's left? But the resistance to go there is what fascinates me. Why do people resist going into an area that has the most potential?
Because it's really hard to do it. I mean,
why is it hard to do it?
Well, I can't explain that, but I honestly can't explain it. Why is it hard? But it's a lot harder than changing the diet or exercising or any crazy thing that I try to do to get rid of my weight. For some reason, I don't know, honestly, why it's hard, but it's hard. It is really hard because it hurts. And it's not like a headache or like, my knee hurts, but somehow your whole body, probably the brain is the one that resists the most. For some reason, it doesn't want to let you, the way that you used to think about ourselves, and it's actually the way that other people used to tell us how we look, how we behave, how we work in everyday life, and then it's very hard to change it
Mm-hmm.
for some reason.
Yes. And that's why you reached out, because with a coach in a safe place, somehow the mind says, now is the time. I can do this. And we resist feeling what we feel. There's resistance. But if you can't feel it, you can't heal it. That's what I believe. And so each session had, some heavy memories, but after each session, you kind of felt lighter and sleepier. So the nervous system relaxed. It's the relaxation of that pressure and that resistance to what is that usually causes multiple symptoms anyway. So how are you now? 3 things you've gained as a result of those 3 months you and I worked together.
Well, I feel a lot better, a lot different. I think about myself different. I don't hate myself. I don't beat up myself anymore. And I definitely lost weight also. And I just generally completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Better than I used to feel. I mean, before I used to hate myself. So it got a lot better. A lot better.
Yes, interesting. So what would you say to, people like us, who were born overweight or became obese in childhood, like I did, and developed eating disorders as a result of being bullied, and then spend years starving myself. And when I had to lose the weight later, I had to deal with this trauma. If I didn't deal with this trauma, nothing was going to happen. So what would you say to these people who are doing the perfect diet, have the perfect personal trainer, and they're hard on themselves, but the weight is piling up or it's not going anywhere?
Well, I would say that, you don't beat up yourself, and I definitely recommend Thea to everyone because you need help. I needed help. I could not do it by myself. I had an idea, and I knew that what was my problem, but I had no idea how to change it, how to solve it. So if you're in the same situation, you definitely need help. You need someone like Thea who can tell you and help you and guide you through the things that I went through to make the changes.
Yes, awesome. Thanks for sharing. And I love this work, Ildiko. This is like the favorite part of the work that I do with people, apart from nutrition, because I know that when we go deep and when we face pain that we don't want to feel, but with someone there, and you know that now's the time, there's going to be a breakthrough. There's going to be a transformation. And it's not about fixing, it's about accepting the unacceptable. Our weight as it is now, our metabolism, our genetics, feeling powerless and helplessness. Why me? Everyone else loses weight on the carnivore. Why am I not? Those are the things, if we can transform them, they're blessings. They open up a pathway to more possibilities, more energy. And so I love watching people go through that, because that's the essence of healing. Everything else we can change and do, right? So
yes, absolutely.
Yes, I love watching your videos and toning down, trimming down, leaning up, leaning in, gaining more muscle. I literally see it. So excellent. Thank you for sharing and your feedback.
Thank you so much. I could never do it without you. Thank you.
Thank you.